Let's go to the phone and go right to Troy Renck, who covers the Broncos in the NFL for the Denver Post. Troy, welcome back to the show.
Yeah, no problem, guys. Good to be here.
Troy, let's first talk about health. What's this offensive line going to look like on Sunday in Oakland?
Very similar to the one last week, actually identical, with Michael Schofield starting at right tackle and Ryan Harris at left tackle. But Gary Kubiak did indicate he's going to rotate some guys through. Evan Mathis and Ryan Harris have been dealing with some slight injuries, and so expect to see Max Garcia get some snaps at guard, and also Tyler Columbus to get a few snaps at tackle.
I asked Gary Kubiak about the possibility of, would you be willing to rotate some guys on your offensive line?
Sounds like that might be what they're...
Kubiak has done it in the past when he was with the Texans, but on a very limited scale. Bill Belichick did it last year in the opener, throughout last year, at times. And when I say for the opener, I mean last year's opener. He's done it in every game this year. When I look at the 4 offensive tackles they have on this team, overall, they're about a 5.5 to a 6.5. I don't see a huge difference between these guys. Would it make sense to rotate all 4 tackles, not every single series, and then maybe rotate in Max Garcia at the very least at center to give some of these offensive linemen a blow and to get some of these other guys some experience?
Yeah, I would disagree with that for the zone blocking scheme, Eric. Communication is so important, and to have that many variables on a consistent basis is not great for continuity. I do like your idea of getting them some snaps, getting them some real-time exposure, finding out what you have, and finding that out before some injury necessitates a move. I would not mess with center at all. Max Garcia hasn't shown he can play center yet, even though he played it in college. And Paradis, frankly, has been playing as well as any lineman outside of Evan Mathis, who's graded out the best over 4 weeks. So I like the idea of moving guys in, especially with these older players that are hurting. But to copy what Belichick does is dangerous, because he does it in a different way. They do schematically, they do things differently. It's just not like the Patriots do it, so the Broncos should do it. It's not a blueprint that most teams can follow. But I like the idea of getting guys some snaps, so they are much more prepared if you do need them for a half or a game.
Yeah, I'm all for that too, Troy, but Eric, I got to tell you, I disagree with that as well. As long as the Broncos are trying to find some consistency on that offensive line right now,
I'm not suggesting
it's a problem right now.
I'm not suggesting they should do that. I'm just throwing it out there. Doesn't make any sense.
Eric wants to get them all varsity letters, apparently.
Troy, do you see this offense taking yet another step, and maybe even a big step forward? It's going to be the same offensive line against Oakland as it was last week against Minnesota, and they played fairly well. The running backs are now healthy, and Ronnie Hillman had a pretty good game last week. And Peyton Manning seemed really angry with himself. I think he's going to come out better. Do you see this offense becoming yet even better this week?
Yeah, the key's first down. They've been abysmal on first down, and that still traces back in part to the running game. But better on first down, better in the first quarter. I believe, if memory serves, they have 9 points in the first quarter. They've got to get off to better starts, and so they're not forced to have to come up with some great drive with the alarms blaring at the end of the game, especially on the road. That's not a great way to pursue a victory, is trying to come up with long drives on the road. But I agree with you, Les, that Manning is coming off a less than effective performance in his own eyes. I believe he'll play better. He traditionally has played really well against the Raiders. He's never lost to the Raiders since he's been with the Broncos. But they need to be better on first down. And that goes back to running. I think you're going to see double tight ends again. That's common in this offense. I think you'll see Virgil Green and Owen Daniels on the field at the same time for 2 reasons. One, they run better out of that formation, and 2, the Raiders haven't been able to guard tight ends at all this season. So that creates some unpredictability that makes the Raiders make choices.